She and the Indiana Fever were sweep victims of the Connecticut Sun and Digini Carrington in a series where Carrington gave the rookie a black eye in Game 1 and Clark had to have an opposing fan removed in Game 2. All the while, she only managed a 35 field goal percentage and just 20 from 3, but it was hardly the first difficult week Clark had since college. The WNBA has been a punishing environment on multiple layers for the rookie phenom, and as great as her talent to be, she often had to face even greater obstacles and scrutiny due to the transcendent spotlight that was always above her. Here's a look back at the strangest, hardest, and most painful rookie moments that Clark had to experience, all before turning 23. But Clark, being the only Fever rookie, had to give a solo performance. She told reporters that day, "The Fever had 3 picks in this year's draft, but their other 2 picks, Celeste Taylor and Leilani Correa, did not last long with the team." Taylor now plays for Phoenix and Correa is a free agent. ESPN host Pat McAfee used his nationally televised show on June 3 to refer to Clark as a white BU during a debate over whether she alone was responsible for an influx in popularity of the WNBA and how other veterans were committing questionable fouls against Clark. "I would like the media people that continue to say, 'This rookie class, this rookie class, this rookie class.' Nah, just call it for what it is. There's one white BU for the Indiana team who is a superstar," McAfee said. McAfee later had to apologize for the comments but has continued to do his show on ESPN airwaves. Clark nearly getting suspended over calls she disagreed with. Clark finished the regular season with 6 technical fouls. If she had accrued one more before the last game of the season, she would have been dealt a 1-game suspension, which would have left a dark mark on her otherwise pristine rookie season. Clark even said she disagreed with more than one of the technical fouls that were called against her during a press conference after a loss to the Minnesota Lynx on Sept. 6. "It stinks because I feel like half of my technicals this year. I got 1 for that inadvertent contact to the face in the Minnesota game and then 2 for hitting the stanchion of the basket," Clark said. "One was a complete accident, and then the other 2 were just a little frustration with myself. So, I think I could have done a better job keeping my emotions in check. But at the same time, like, really?" Clark's head coach, Christy Sides, insisted Clark had to move on. Getting a black eye in her first playoff game. The Fever's Game 1 loss to the Sun on Sunday involved an incident in the first quarter when Carrington stabbed Clark's eye with her long fingernail. Carrington struck Clark while trying to block a pass from Clark in the first quarter. Slow motion footage showed Carrington bending her hand while coming down from the block attempt, pointing her nails in Clark's face. Even worse for Clark, no foul was called on the play. Later in the week, Carrington said the poke wasn't intentional. Clark also said she didn't think it was intentional when she was asked about it. To add insult to injury, Carrington has also antagonized Clark and her fans on multiple occasions in the past. On June 13, Carrington made a post on X calling out Clark for not doing more to speak out about people using her name for racism and other forms of prejudice, even though the rookie phenom has condemned racism and misogyny in public statements. Dog. How one cannot be bothered by their name being used to justify racism, bigotry, misogyny, xenophobia, homophobia, and the intersectionalities of them all is nuts, Carrington wrote. "We all see that we all have a platform. We all have a voice, and they all hold weight. Silence is a luxury." Getting left off the US Olympic team. Decision to leave Clark off the U.S. women's Olympic basketball team sparked an uproar of backlash from fans, new and old. It didn't cost the team a gold medal in Paris, but it did possibly prevent the team from getting more exposure and visibility during the games. Dawn Staley, the head coach of the reigning NCAA women's basketball champion South Carolina Gamecocks, who beat Clark and Iowa in the final last season, even suggested Clark should have had more consideration. "If we had to do it all over again, the way that she's playing, she would be in really high consideration of making the team because she is playing head and shoulders above a lot of people." Staley was part of the committee that elected to leave Clark off the team, having alleged screenshots of a private conversation leaked by a WNBA legend. Hall of Famer Sheryl Swoopes, the first player ever to be drafted by the WNBA, is now a women's basketball broadcaster and commentator. She has been criticized this season for being overly critical of Clark at times, but her attempted criticisms once ventured close to slander when Swoopes suggested that Clark played 5 years at Iowa and got an extra year of eligibility due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Swoopes made the comments during an appearance on Gil's Arena podcast in February in an effort to discredit the fact that Clark broke the NCAA all-time scoring record. Then on Sept. 2, Swoops posted alleged screenshots of a conversation with a contact named Clark in which she apologized for the statements. Later that week, Swoops even had to host an Spaces event where she explained why she made the false statements about Clark's career but said she wouldn't apologize to anyone else but Clark, getting knocked to the floor multiple times by Chicago Sky players on flagrant foul plays. Clark and the Fever found a clear rival in the Chicago Sky this past year. Clark's rivalry with Sky rookie Angel Reese dated back to their college careers before this season. But Clark also got a healthy introduction to Reese's newest teammates in 4 games between the two teams this year. Clark took an infamous illegal hip check from Chicago Sky forward Chennedy Carter on June 1 when the Sky player charged right into the Fever rookie and knocked her down during a stoppage in play. Clark said after the game that Carter's hit was not a basketball play. Carter then refused to answer questions about the incident at the post-game press conference but used her social media to repeatedly criticize Clark. "That's that on that cause. Beside 3-point shooting, what does she bring to the table, man?" Carter wrote in reply to a post about her post-game press conference on Threads. In August, Sky player Diamond Desild sent Clark flying and then sliding across the hardwood on a play that was later upgraded to a flagrant 1 foul. After the game, Desild posted a screenshot of her notifications list on Instagram, which included a string of hate comments from a user. The comments were about a tumor Desild overcame in 2020. Reese also got on this list when she slammed her arm onto Clark's head while trying to block a layup at a game between the two teams on June 16. Clark and the Fever can at least take solace in knowing they beat the Sky in 3 of their 4 meetings this year.